Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
With Robb Flynn. What up? What up? What up? Podcast party people. And I hope you were partying, people. I hope you were partying like I was partying yesterday. Yesterday was a holiday in the United States of America. It was Memorial Day. It is the day that we honor people that have fallen in wars past. And there was many posts about it on Instagram, and then everybody goes and eats hot dogs and drinks beer and barbecues. That's what happens. We put a quick little post up on Instagram about it, some words, and then the rest of the day is just barbecues and hanging out. I did not do the former part, or the first part, I should say. I refused to actually do that, and it gets a little overboard. My feed is just overflowing with it. It's kind of annoying. It's annoying for every holiday that's like that. You know, or Christmas. The Christmas picture fucking posts always drive me up the wall. So I just thought about it. I pontificated on those who had fallen. And my dad was a veteran, served in the military. And so I thought about him. I don't have any pictures of him, though. If I was going to post something, I probably would have posted something about him serving. And then I proceeded to barbecue, did a little swimming, drank some beers. I wasn't planning on drinking as many beers as I did. Just my wife decided she wanted to rage well into the night. I was like, okay, which doesn't really happen, but she drank a bottle and a half of vino, and I just kept up, and I was like, all right, I'll keep up with you. That's what you got to do when you got a wife. It's not a bad problem or anything. It's a good problems to have, right? Like your wife wants to get hammered with you. It was fun, and it was fucking hot here in California. It was 97 degrees yesterday. So it's cool. We chilled, barbecued, drank, and then we just kicked it. Went to bed kind of early, around 10 o'clock. Got a good sleep. Last 2 nights I got good sleep. I don't get very good sleep when I'm singing a lot. Something about singing keeps me awake. I'm not exactly sure what happens, but something about singing, screaming my head off in key keeps me, basically I yell in key. I determined that the other day on the happy hour. I was like, I'm not a very good singer. I basically just yell in key. And, or bellow in key. I'm just damn good at doing that. One of the best to ever do it. So, yeah, I slept really good. It's amazing when you don't bellow in key that I can sleep like a rock. Got 8 hours. You don't even know, this is so unheard of for me to get 8 hours 2 nights in a row. Awesome. I usually get about 6 hours a night, and that's not enough. Fucking tired all the time. Tired. Let's see. What else happened? What else happened this weekend? I just saw a bunch of tours got announced. Holy shit. So many tours got announced. Boom. Everybody's like, we're open. Fuck the coronavirus. We're open. So it's surprising. I hope it works out for all these bands that are going and doing tours. I really do. Somehow I think they're going to lose some of these shows. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it goes very successful for them. We are not rushing out to do these tours, but lots of folks are. I don't know. It just feels a little early. I'm not going. I'm not going to any of these. I don't want to go. I'm not interested in going to these tours. I don't want to be around people. I don't want to be around people that are totally anti-masking, anti-vaxxing fucking people. I don't. I'll wait. Give me another year. I'll probably get there. I'll be like, okay, cool. I know in the fall, like when the fall comes, all this fucking shit's gonna end. It's fucking back on lockdown. I guarantee it. Fingers crossed. Hopefully I'm wrong. Fingers crossed I'm wrong. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't see it. I know here in California, all those rural areas of California, because California is big, and everybody thinks California is like fucking Hollywood Boulevard. It's definitely not. There's a lot of rural parts up in like the Central Valley and the Northeast, and all those areas now are getting hit super hard by the coronavirus, and they somehow got spared over the winter. I'm not exactly sure how. Maybe their ruralness, is that a word? Ruralness spared them. But they're getting hit hard now. I don't know what's happening in the rest of the U.S. I haven't been really following it too much. I do know it's going down there, and vaccines are working. They have vax parties and all kinds of stuff. I was like, pretty cool. Pretty cool. I wouldn't go to a vaccinated. I wouldn't go to some of these parties even if I before the pandemic though. So sometimes I'm just like, I don't. If the pandemic brought anything to my attention crystal clear, it was the fact that I'm basically a hermit because my life didn't really change all that much from fucking prior to the pandemic to during the pandemic. Just basically come to the studio and work and jam. That's it. Oh, I'm yawning here. Jeez Louise. Okay, I was just talking about how much sleep I got, and I'm fucking yawning. The fuck? Yeah, I got a good one here. Josh Rand, Stone Sour. He has a new project called the L.I.F.E Project, the L.I.F.E Project, and we had a good hang. It was a good chat. I totally lagged on pulling up music, and I'm getting sick of like all the every time I put music on a fucking post now, it always gets fucking. I always get these stupid fucking copyright strikes. It's fucking annoying. But I will pull it. I probably should. I should have done this beforehand, but I didn't. I'll pay you some Stone Sour jams. Let's see. What do they got? Their number one song. Let's see. Number one song by a long shot is Through Glass. Check this out.
I'm looking at you through the glass. Don't know how much time has passed. Oh God, it feels like forever. But no one ever tells you that forever feels like home. Sitting all alone inside your head.
Tell you what, though.
I'm looking at you through the...
Jared and I covered this song. I love this song. It's a great song.
Wish I was too dead to cry. A self-affliction fades. Stones to throw at my creator.
So good. But this record, though, right here, man. Absolute Zero. This record's so good. House of Golden Bones, Part 1. Dude, it's a banger. Banger, bro. Some jams on here. And check this out. Here is Josh's new thing. This is called The Nothingness. Just dropped. Oh, it's got a new single out too. Ignite. Look at the vocals. It's great. Why am I yawning? Woo, she got a voice. God damn. Freaking awesome voice, man. Holy shit. Rocker. This is the latest single. New single out now. Ignite. Look at the vocals. Yeah, this is his latest project. It drops July 8th on his own record label, which he talks quite a bit about at length here. Very cool. Excited for him. So there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you Mr. Josh Rand. Josh Rand.
Yes.
How you doing, man?
What's going on? It's been a while.
It has been a while. I want to say the last time we hung out was what, Des Moines, when we played there?
Yes. Woolies.
19? Was it 19? Okay.
19.
Right.
One of the last times I got out of my house before going into complete lockdown.
Right. Has Iowa been hit pretty hard by the pandemic? Like, was the lockdown pretty hard?
Not really. Actually, we never were truly locked down.
Oh.
Our governor was, yeah, you know.
Who cares if people die?
Yeah, at this point, I mean, when you have neighboring states saying, hey, maybe we should not let people from Iowa come into our state, that tells you how relaxed it was here. So that just meant that I basically, thank God for delivery and Amazon.
Right.
I basically seriously didn't go anywhere for like 6 months at all.
Yeah.
It was insane. But anyway, we're on the upside of that. So
yeah,
hopefully.
Totally.
So, yeah.
It's nice. It's nice to be like, I guess California's coming out of lockdown in 2 weeks. So it'll be like, I think everything's going to be lifted, you know, all the mandates and masks and all that. So I don't know how long that's going to last, but I'm excited.
That's my question. Is it, because I mean, obviously, I don't know. Today was a big announcement with a ton of shows.
Right.
If you've seen that at all, I mean, I think Guns N' Roses announced.
Oh, did they for this?
They're
year?
going out. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, Slipknot's going out. There was a bunch of stuff this morning. I was like, just like everybody's going out on tour, and it was announced today. I mean, it was pretty crazy when I woke up. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I don't. I probably should check this stuff more. There was a time when I was like, you know, religious blabbermouth reader and like wanted to stay up on everything, and then I just found that like I went a little OCD on it, and I was like, I need to like make boundaries around how often I go to any metal sites to check out anybody's fucking news, because all I'm doing is reading about somebody else's fucking life and wasting my life.
The thing is I like just keeping up with seeing what everybody else is doing, and then also, you know, with the touring thing, especially with, you know, launching this new project and eventually putting a band together, and everybody's asking me, are you going to take it out on tour? And I'm like,
right.
Well, eventually that's the plan. I mean, initially I didn't plan on myself doing everything for it. It just happened because of the situation we were put in. And just like I said, with my wife's condition and being a high risk person with COVID, it was just like we couldn't let anybody in and out. I mean, so yes.
Yeah. And you know, I got to say, for me though, and I don't know, maybe you were different about this, but, and I've said this a bunch of times on my podcast, but I never realized what a hermit I was until the whole world went on into pandemic. Because I was like, my life hasn't really changed all that much, you know, maybe a few less shows, but it was, you know, in some ways it was great just to slow down, you know, like, you know, I feel like there's a lot of times in my life when I'm just, you know, my family takes the brunt of it because I'll hyper focus on Machine Head, and like that's all I'll be putting my energy into, and to like kind of have it all just kind of pause and like reconnect with my wife and reconnect with my kids. It was kind of awesome.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way you do. I mean, not much really changed for me, and especially being the fact of, you know, in the leapfrogging where we are between the two bands, you know, with Slipknot also working on stuff and Corey wanting to do the solo stuff. It's like, well, I already have this time off anyway, and I really don't go anywhere when I'm at home. But with that being said, when you're basically forced not to be able to go in, I probably wouldn't win anywhere anyway. I guess that's where I'm going. But when you say, hey, I can't go anywhere, then it's like, this sucks.
Hey, wait a minute.
So, but yeah, for the most part, nothing, it pretty much stayed the same for me also. I mean, and if anything, it's more of just working on stuff myself. I put a gym in my house, you know, just that type of stuff. Is like, oh, you know, maybe I need to start taking better care of myself. You know, I'm starting, you know, unfortunately, stuff doesn't move as smooth and easy as it used to.
Did you pack on the COVID-20?
Believe it or not, I actually lost 30 pounds.
Wow, dude, that's amazing. That's the first. You're the first person I think I've talked to in the whole pandemic that says I lost weight in the pandemic.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think a lot of it is because I became more conscious of what I was eating in portions. And that's a huge thing. I mean, so yeah.
What's your food thing right now? Like your portions, or your what are you eating?
Well, this last week I've kind of fell off the rails. Like, you know, it's like like you said, stuff's opening up, and then the next thing you know, I'm like obsessed every day going to Taco Bell, which I haven't ate since I was like a teenager. All of a sudden, I'm like, I just love this stuff.
You're going to Zombie Burger.
Yeah, Zombie Burger is awesome too.
Yeah, I love Zombie Burger.
Yeah,
they crush it.
Yeah, for the most part, it's just like I said, it's more of just portions and trying to eat as clean as possible. I'm not, you know, vegan and eating Beyond Beef or meat or whatever. At the end of the day, I'm still from Iowa, so it's, you know, it's still cattle and pigs and stuff like that. So, but with that being said, like I said, just trying to watch the portions and just eat stuff cleaner, less processed stuff.
Right on. Good for you. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I started doing a portion. I started going to a new gym, which thankfully stayed open because it was half of the gym is outdoors anyway. And so it was a couple of years ago, or about a year and a half ago, and he put me on this thing where my coach put me on this 30-30-10. So it's 30 grams of protein, 30 grams of carbs, 10 grams of fat, 6 times a day. So it sounds like a lot, but it isn't. You know, like 30 grams of chicken is like a quarter cup of chicken, or 4 to 5 ounces of chicken. You know, 30 grams of rice is like, half a cup of rice, you know, and then you throw in some vegetables or whatever. And then a little bit of fat, you know, maybe you add olive oil or avocado or something. So I started doing this thing, and it's actually been the first time in my whole life where I've been able to come off of the road and maintain my road weight, you know, like, cause I'm always in great shape being on tour because, you know, long shows, you get more time to work out. And, yeah, it's been so like I totally feel you on the portions. And then the pandemic hits, and like I don't want to fucking eat out every day and like have all these motherfuckers touching my food that I don't know. So just doing that has been awesome, like really helpful in keeping, you know, just healthy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, are you doing anything like that? You're not doing anything specifically like that?
Not really. Okay. I mean, it's like my breakfast is the same thing. It's like 2 eggs, one piece of toast. And like I said, it's really the portions. And the other thing I've started to do though is I've started to graze a little bit more throughout the entire day and not just have like the 3 big meals. Like,
Yes.
So I think that's a big thing too for me. And once I feel full, I'm done. Like I don't care. I'll wrap it up, put it back in the fridge, or I'll throw it away if it can't be ate at a later date, or time. And I think that's also huge.
I don't recall you ever being like overweight though. Like have you ever been overweight? Like you're pretty skinny to me. Like,
well, I was overweight for me anyway. A lot of that is, obviously I'm not drinking anymore. So my 2017, 2018, a lot of craft beer happening.
Okay.
So I think really what I shed is, it's the weight that I put on from drinking more than anything. And then, like I said, now that I've backed off the portions, that's helped a little too.
Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations on that, man. That's 3 years then, 4 years almost.
Yeah. The beginning of 18. Yeah. Is when I
it was in January.
Yeah. It was,
everybody I know, I've gone sober so many times in January. Like, okay, I'm done. Never again.
Well, I had some incidents on Shiprock that, when we played that basically spun everything out of control for myself. And, looking back at it, I'm sure that, because we basically left Florida off of Shiprock. I had some incidents happen.
It happened.
On the ship? A couple meltdowns.
On the ship?
Yeah, on Shiprock.
What do you mean you had a meltdown?
Well, let's see. I broke a guitar. I yelled at just ridiculous stuff, drunk stuff that happens that you look back the next day and go, "This was stupid." And what am I doing?
On stage? Or
I shattered the guitar on stage. Okay. The other stuff happened off stage.
So that's pretty rock and roll, smashing a guitar on stage.
Yeah, except for it was like my trademark guitar. So it was the original hot pink with polka dots that I splintered into it. And it wasn't necessarily I broke it, it's the way that I broke it. And then after the fact, I was upset with myself because I slammed on the ground, and of course it shattered. But I hit a bunch of people with debris, and that wasn't what I was trying to do. So which I felt bad. And then ultimately I gave them all the pieces of the guitar. But anyway, that was like a breaking point for me where I was just like, okay, this is just, I got to figure this out before something happens and it's really bad. So yeah, after we left Shiprock, we got to the airport. The rest of the band boarded the plane to go, I think, into Canada, because that's where we were going. I didn't make that flight. I actually flew back home.
Wow. And you didn't tell the band?
I ended up texting them after they were already on the plane that I'm not going to be able to make this. I probably should go home and not go to Canada.
Wow.
So, obviously, there's massive history there. Luckily, everybody understood that it was for the best. And yeah. And so I went home for, I think it was like 5 months before I came back.
Yeah, I just saw your Loudwire post coming back interview that you did with Graham.
Oh,
Loudwire. So that was pretty. You were kind of like recapping this story, and
yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, it was.
What was going on in your life though that made you like? Were you just tour taking its toll, or like personal shit at home? Or?
A lot of personal shit going on, and then along with the drinking, I was taking Xanax and other stuff. So it was like that's what I was saying. Stuff was starting to get a little out of control for myself. And I recognized it like the next morning. I was like, man, this isn't me. And this isn't that's not how I want people to think of me. And that's not how I carry myself. So, I knew that was the best decision for me. It was hard not to go to Canada and with the band, because actually I'm the one that fought for us to get back up there. We hadn't been up there for like 10 years, and I'm the one that pushed for it, and ended up getting Hellstorm to sign on to do the tour with us. And then
that's rad.
Yeah, and then I'm not a part of the tour that I pushed so hard to put together, but it was for the best. I mean, honestly. So
yeah. Yeah, sometimes you need a break, man.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
the Xannies, they're such a it's such a fucking epidemic with those, and people take them and they think it's like, oh, it just kind of mellows me out, and like, it really, my mom just passed away, and she's been on Xanax for, I mean, she was addicted to what they're called, psychotropics.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, like those type of drugs though, that,
Right.
like, the anxiety or whatever, and just fucking Valium and Xanax, like, and it's just fucking makes the person like go away after a while. It's crazy. Like, it's fucking crazy. Like,
Yeah, actually, looking back at it and everything, I 100% agree. Like I was actually prescribed them all the way back in like 2010. So I had been on it for 2009. I had been on it for years.
wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Nobody had any idea,
Yeah.
Same with my drinking. I don't drink to get messed up. I drink to have that nice buzz. So it was like I was drinking from the time I got up.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, I wouldn't be hammering it.
Right.
I would just be there, and I would like come in and out of place. You know how it is. You have the stuff, you have access to it.
Yeah.
So I had it worked out to where I could just get in and I would be like, okay, this is happening here. Nobody had any idea. I'd just come into one of our dressing rooms, grab a beer, nobody'd even know. And I would like duck out and then throughout the entire day. And that's how I maintained through most of 17 and up until I came home. That whole hydrograd process was,
Mhm.
for me, was pretty much drinking and then being on the Xanax.
Yeah, and that's a hefty combo there too. The booze and the Xannies are a lot.
Yeah,
It takes its toll. And so you were taking Xanax every day
every day,
and drinking every day.
every day.
Wow. Like days off, no days off.
Days off for me were a little bit different because obviously I was in hotel rooms, so it was easier. It's like, hey, room service,
Right.
I need you to bring me up a six pack. So that's how days off went. Pretty much.
Yeah. It's crazy because I never, after I heard you start talking about it, like I haven't hung out with you that many times, but you never seemed like you were always normal, even if you had a buzz. Like, it was like I've never seen you hammered.
I haven't been hammered in a long time.
Yeah, like you wouldn't drink to get hammered. You just drink
No,
all day.
no, I'm too old. I that was one thing. I realized that I would wake up the next day and feel like I was hit by a train. So for me, it was maintaining that buzz
Yeah,
and trying, and that numbness, I guess, is how you would describe it.
yeah,
Throughout the entire day, every day. Like I
yeah.
said, that's
It's a lot. It's a big when you sober up from that too. It's a big adjustment in everything in your life. Like you're like, I mean, I used to drink on stage and then I got quit drinking. I drink now, but I quit drinking on stage and I quit drinking for a period and went on tour. And I'm like, I would drink on stage and cheers, motherfuckers. And, like I'd always have a drink in my hand whenever I was talking to the crowd for, decades. And then I stopped drinking and I was like, what do I do with my hands now? Like, I don't have a drink there. Like, what am I supposed to do now?
Did you notice, like for me, what also happened is it became like a comfort thing for me, because I am pretty quiet and reserved for the most part, but it was also a social thing for me, and you do meet and greets, so all about that. And that was one of the things. It was like, it got to the point where it was like, okay, I gotta have this cool buzz just to interact with people and feel comfortable, before I meet all these people. Not wasted once again, but just enough to be loose and not just be the quiet guy that doesn't say anything like most people think that I am over the years. That was another thing. So yeah, it's I don't miss it though. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
At
I mean,
all.
I think with singing always stopped me from drinking, like doing the day drinking. Like I would drink right before we went on stage and then on stage and then I would stop. Like I would have to stop. Like I would lose my voice the next day if I continued drinking all the time. And so I did have this like boundary, like a cap that I could put on it, but it was a pretty, I was drinking like like if it was a good, like on a normal show day, I'd drink like 8 shots right before and during the show, 8 shots of vodka. And then if it was a good show, I could do up to like, a super rowdy, crazy show. Like I could do up to like 11 or 12 shots and then still cut it off. But then if it was a show where we had a day off the next day and I knew I could rage and, not have to, worry about my voice or anything, then I do each of my drinks has about 6 or 7 shots in it. So I drink like 3 or 4 of those. So that's another 21 to 28 shots on top of the 11 shots I already did. And then a couple of few beers on top of it. So once I started counting it and I was like, fuck, this is a lot. and then January came and I just drank too much over the Christmas holidays and I was like, I got to stop. And, started playing, like we go out and you're sober and I'm playing my first show and I'm like, fuck, I'm playing way better. Like, I'm singing way better. Fuck.
No,
things are through.
Well, that's what happens. That's what happened to me. It took me a while, but then there's like once I was off of everything, a new sense of clarity. Like everything came together for me a lot easier too. It's like I could think better. My creativity's like better than it's been in a long time. And then, like you said, the playing aspect. I mean, yeah, I was playing the best in 18, coming back, definitely better than 17. There's not a doubt in my mind. Just an ease with it too.
What did why were you prescribed Xanax?
Initially, I was prescribed. I'm terrified of flying, which in this profession is not a good thing to be like. So that was why I was initially prescribed it. When it first happened, or Stone Sour first happened, I was like Mr. T in the A Team. It's like, I'm not getting on a plane. I'm not getting on anything like that. I'd be like totally medicated and like drug onto a plane.
Okay.
So that's why I was prescribed it. And then
did you have like some horrible, like when you were a child, like your plane almost crashed or something? Or was it
no, not at all.
Rational fear?
I hadn't flown for the first time until 2002 when we came out to L.A. to shoot the video for Get Inside.
Oh, you had never flown until that?
I had not. No, and I was like, well, what was the kicker? It was why I sucked it up. Well, I would have eventually had to anyway, but I had drove out with Jim when we did the mixing of the first record, and we got caught in wildfires in Colorado, and it took us freaking forever also to get home. And it was just like, then I was like, I don't care how terrifying it is. I'm not, no more 32-hour drives out to California. And then, I flew out there the first time. Of course, the wildfires are still happening, and the pilot's like, oh, the smell, don't worry, the plane's not on fire. And like the sky's black. I'm like, this is like horrific for me. So, after that, it was like, I kind of need something. And then it gradually, you know how it is. You just more to the point where then all of a sudden I don't even think about it. I'm just taking it. And the next thing you know, it's not days, weeks, months, it's years. And then finally I went to see a new doctor, and he's like, holy crap, you've been on this for almost a decade. So we got to get you off of this stuff. Yeah. And, honestly, it was harder for me coming off of that than it was to quit drinking. But it just, like I said, it had reached a point where I was just like, I need to figure it out.
And that doctor just kept on prescribing Xanax like all the time like that?
Yeah, well, yeah. And the crazy thing is
like, I'm not flying for 6 months, but I need some Xanax.
I think back on it, and like it would be, like I'm really careful because honestly, the doctor would probably get in trouble. Let's be honest. But like prescriptions would be filled, and it would be like, here's 120 tablets, and here's 8 refills.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
Here you go. Okay. And then I'd go through those. I would actually text the doctor. I wouldn't even see the doctor. And then a new prescription would be given to me, and it would basically be that. So yeah, so you could see how, once again, when you have that access and it's just that easy, how shit can like get out of control. And like any addiction, you're just going to keep adding to it, you know, and more and more and more and more until either you stop or unfortunately you kill yourself. I mean, that's usually what happens.
It really is amazing how much that drug is prescribed. I had Chavo from System of a Down on here not that long ago, and he was saying that like almost the same thing, like almost the exact same story. He started having kind of panic attacks before he'd go on stage, and you know, like, or just whatever, traveling, and so the doctor just prescribed him Xanax, and then it was just more, and he was on it for 20 years, you know, and fucking, it's just crazy how in our industry, and in many other industries, but like especially in our industry, it's like that one drug is like, it's, you know, everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think Head from Korn struggled with it for the longest time too.
Yeah,
and he
was on a lot. He was just
he was carrying like a Ziploc freaking freezer bag full. I'm like,
he's smoking meth and fucking. He was fucking going nuts for a while there.
Yeah. But like you said, yeah, so many people are prescribed that for anxiety purposes, and then it becomes an addiction.
Yeah.
And, you know, in this industry, you know, you can get anything you want, or people will go, you know, oh, I got this artist, you know, and I mean, how many doctors have we seen over the last several decades that are prescribing whatever because it's like, oh, it's so and so. I mean,
rock doc.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, bring out the rock doc.
Rock doc.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How? Tell me about this new project.
Well, the new project started really the beginning of last year.
Okay. So before the pandemic hit.
Right before the pandemic hit is when I started on it. Initially, you know, really what it came down to is Corey had sent me a message saying, "Hey, I'm gonna finally do this solo album in between Slipknot albums this time around." And so I was just like, okay. I knew that would come at some point because I knew that he wanted to do all this other style music that he absolutely loves that kind of doesn't fit in Stone Sour or Slipknot. So I'm like, well, that's cool. I don't know if I want to sit around and not do anything for 5 or 6 years. Right. And so with that being said, I was like, you know, I have all this material that I had started working on. And it's something I've kicked around in the past anyways, doing something else because of Slipknot and when Corey's with Slipknot. So I'm just like, you know what? No time is better than now. So I started working on it. I knew it would be female fronted. That is something that I wanted to do because I knew it would have my style of writing to it. So I thought having a male vocalist come in, I bring so much into Stone Sour that it's going to have that flavor regardless. I'm not going to just all of a sudden become like Joe Bonamassa when I wake up tomorrow morning and it's a totally different style of music. So it was very important to bring in that female vocalist, just not to have, if it was a male vocalist, they would get compared to Corey probably. Right. And I just didn't want that to happen. And I just also felt like there was music that I could write that might not fit with Corey singing it. Or different, you know, allows us to branch out writing wise. And between both Cassandra and Corey, I feel like now I could musically go anywhere I want to. Mm-hmm. And as the EP comes out and more songs from the L.I.F.E project, then people will realize just how diverse her voice really is. Yeah, I mean, I'm so stoked when everybody hears like the crossover song, as we put it in our industry, because her vocals on that are incredible. I mean, I was just blown away because it's just a different style of singing than her just rocking out. But that's how it kind of just started. And then I wanted to do a band, but then COVID happened. And then I'm just like, well, this is how I write anyway. I do everything, even for Stone Sour, when I submit songs, it usually starts out as I'll write all the music, I'll do the arrangements, I'll play everything. then I send it to Corey, and if Corey's vibing on it, then he'll write the lyrics to it, and then we give it to everyone else. If not, then it just gets shelved till a later date or doesn't get used. Okay. So it's like that's how I've always written my entire life. So it's not really that big of a difference for me, except for I did technically want it to be a band, and it will be a band eventually. But at the same time, I just needed to get the stuff out. I didn't want to sit on it for however long just to have a couple other people playing on it. It made no sense to me. So I'm just like, you know what? I'll get it out. I'll start establishing it. And then at a later date, there will be, hopefully a full band and some touring. Probably not until next year at this point.
Has your singer toured before? She's been in a...
Yeah, she has her own band that she goes out every weekend and plays down in Missouri and in that region. So yeah, I think that she's a star in the making, to be quite honest. I just think that, like everybody, you just need that opportunity, and hopefully this gives her that chance to be able to step out. And like I said, I think the diversity on this EP, I think everyone's going to be blown away by just how diverse her vocals
That's
are.
right. Yeah, chicks are killing it now in metal and rock. Like Izzy Hale and Evanescence new albums, fucking awesome. I love it. There's so many. Even like Arch Enemy singer, like just so many awesome badass front women in hard music now.
Yeah, have you heard Spirit Box? They're like the ones that are really getting that attention. Like,
yeah, I haven't checked it out, but I've seen the name and I've seen like a couple of clips from him and stuff. I just haven't done the deep dive yet. So
yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, but like you said, a ton of female fronted bands are up and
Ginger,
coming.
right? Ginger's got a female fronted.
What's that?
Ginger, that band Ginger with the J.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing pretty well too, I think. Yeah, there's a ton of bands now. It's like when I was growing up, there was Dora, right?
Right.
And that was it. That was the only person. And
Lita Ford, yeah. And I loved Lita Ford. I loved the Ozzy Lita Ford duet. That's still one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, she was killing it when whatever, I don't know what year that would have been, like 90s.
I need to get her on the podcast and just talk.
There you go. Oh yeah, she's awesome. I actually met her at the charity bowling thing for Ronnie James Dio.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, she was super cool. She was really nice. I was kind of intimidated, as like, but she was really nice, and yeah, that was a good time, that bowling thing.
What did you get? What do you talk about with Lita Ford when you meet her?
The Ozzy song and Kiss Me Deadly, and
Did you talk guitars or anything?
Not really.
Yeah.
It was really quick, but she was really nice, and like I said, it was more of just talking about that, which I'm sure she's probably like so stoked to talk about the Ozzy duet that's 35 years old still. Every time somebody sees her, but it's
such a good song though. It really is such a great, like, fucking cool chording, and
yeah, it's like I said, I mean, it's a great song. And then obviously even with her with the Runaways, even though I know that there's that feud that they still have going on.
Do they really? They have a feud going still?
Yeah.
Who, her and Joan Jett?
Yeah.
Really? Over what?
Just let it go. I don't know.
Okay.
It's like,
but they talk shit about. They talk shit about each other in the press and shit.
I haven't seen them talk shit, but I know that whoever the singer is for the band has tried to get them to do a couple shows or something.
Okay.
And those two don't talk to one another and haven't for like 40 years. So at some point, it's like,
oh, I don't think this is the first time I'm hearing this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they do not like one another still.
Crazy.
So who knows?
Yeah. That's cool though. So you wrote all the music and then you send it to what's your singer's name? I'm sorry. I saw the
Cassandra.
band name too, and I didn't want to say it the wrong way either.
Yeah, it's Cassandra.
Cassandra.
Yeah. She lives in Springfield, Missouri. Yeah, everything was done in here, honestly, in my house.
How do you guys hook up? Like, how does this?
Here,
Do you guys know each other from touring or?
No, Dave Rath.
Oh shit, Dave Rath at Roadrunner Records.
So here's how this all came.
Shout out to Dave Rath.
Yeah. So you know that Dave's in Heaven's Edge, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
he was the drummer.
Yes. So they needed a bass player, and the fill-in bass player they got last year doing Shiprock. This is all. See how we're coming full
Dave Rath played
Shiprock on
Shiprock?
everything.
Dave Rath played Shiprock.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
I didn't even know. I thought his band was defunct for a long time now. They're
so they needed a bass player.
All right.
And Cassandra's boyfriend plays bass in Pink Trick. And so he filled in or whatever, plays in that. And so he gave Dave a CD of her band. I happened to talk to Dave. Dave's like, hey, I know that you wanted a female vocalist and you wanted somebody from the Midwest. You need to check this person out. So that's how it all came about. So I just reached out to her. I was like, hey, I'm working on some stuff. Would you be interested? I'll send you some stuff to sing over. And so I sent her a couple of cover songs. And really everything kind of fell together. And I was just like
cover songs?
Well, yeah, we did. We covered Blondie, Led Zeppelin, In Excess.
Oh, okay. So you sent
we're sitting on all this stuff, but it's actually kind of. I'll probably put it out this fall or whatever, just to put it out. Not like a big release or anything. But it was kind of like necessarily her audition to be part of the project, and just kind of where her vocals were for myself. So yeah, so we did a bunch of cover stuff, and then the first song I was like, hey, let's do an original. And I sent her the music to the Nothingness. She sent it back, and I was like, oh yeah, I made the right decision.
Right on.
And then we started working on the rest of the songs we started working on the rest of the music that I had, which is, we have like 13 songs right now.
Oh shit.
But I just, where these initial first 5 I felt were like solid and finished. And I was like, I just want to get it out there. And so, you know how it is, man. You don't want to sit on songs forever. I mean, it's hard to move forward if you're sitting on a bunch of stuff. It's like, I caught myself like nitpicking every little thing. I'm just like, you'll get a kick out of this because, you still talk to Monty probably regularly or whatever. That's what I felt like. I felt like, is that cymbal hit right? And is that the right cymbal? And you know what I'm saying? Is that in the right place? Is that the right cymbal? Is it loud enough? And so I was just like, I got to get this shit out. And that was the plan. So, went to shop it. Obviously I had to wait for Roadrunner to release me to do it because of being under contract with Stone Sour. They did. And I was just like, you know what? I'd rather just do everything myself. I can. I'm lucky enough I can do that. And that's what I did. So I started my own little record company to do all the physical copies.
Rad.
And everything's being packaged and everything at my own house. Everything gets shipped here. And it's like, awesome. Shipping and receiving in my garage. And,
right.
and
do it.
And it's been really liberating not to have, I appreciate everybody's opinions, but when you have a vision of what you want to do, sometimes you just need to be able to do it. And that's what I've been able to do. It's like, along with writing everything, I produced everything. I'm one of the engineers. Like I'm just like you are with Machine Head. I'm so into every little aspect of this, where in Stone Sour, it's like, yeah, I'll voice my opinion, but that doesn't mean that that's going to happen unless I really pound the table for it to happen, and sometimes, it's just not worth doing.
You got vinyl being made for this?
Yeah. See,
Yeah,
that was,
awesome.
Here's the other beauty I loved about doing everything myself is I knew I wanted to do vinyl and all. Actually, I made cassettes. Like,
Yeah.
that's my new thing. I'm
Hot. We just did blackening cassettes. They were hot.
I got it.
Oh, did you? Oh, nice.
I got one. And actually, I got what I just picked up of yours is I got a promo copy of Burn My Eyes before the album cover.
Oh, shit. Wow.
So it's just Roadrunner promo and it's the album, but the cover is just black with the song titles in yellow on the front.
Crazy. Yeah. That's super.
I'll send you a photo of it. I just got it from a guy that collects up in Illinois. Yeah, that I got a boombox for Christmas. You know, as a novelty item.
A cassette boombox.
Yeah. And the next thing you know, I'm like, I woke up the next day and I was like, I gotta have every cassette I've ever owned. and the cool thing is like you can buy all this stuff and it's like it's not crazy. Like vinyls, I've been collecting vinyl for years, and the prices on some stuff are just it's just crazy. I'm just like, this is stupid.
Right.
But you know, cassettes on the other hand, you can go in and then nobody even sorts them. It's like, here's this box of tapes here, you can look at them.
Right.
And $3 a piece, whatever you want. I'm like, cool. So now I'm up to like over 400, I think.
Wow. And like all the original cassette artwork and all that stuff.
Yeah. And I'm crazy, so I want everything to be perfect. So it's been tricky with some of the stuff. But yeah, it's been fun. I mean, it's like I said, there's like, it's not expensive. And, you know, like I said, vinyl's just so crazy priced anymore. It's like, I mean, they've made it, in my opinion, they're pricing themselves out of selling more records. Like, what is a double record now? If it's 180 gram, like $45. It's like, that's ridiculous. Yeah. I know, you know, I know.
And that's what we're doing. I will say though, in our defense, like the packaging for that fucking blackening reissue was top fucking, like we spared no expense, you know, like it had like the silver foil, it was numbered, you know, like it had so many, you know, I think people, I mean, we sold out of everything. So like people will buy it. If it's super high quality, they're happy to pay for it. You know, I think some of the other vinyl that I've seen that had a super high price tag in no way warranted that kind of a price, because it was just like fucking thrown together. You know, we had a booklet, like, I don't know if you picked it up, but like, you know, it was, I think that like people's mindset is like that now, that if you make it that high quality, and especially because I think it was limited edition and numbered and stuff like that, that it's like, this is it. And this is not going to be made again. And if it is made again, something's going to be different about it, that they appreciate that. I mean, you're a collector, you know,
right?
Like, I think you can appreciate that. You can appreciate that effort that goes into it though. And the
absolutely. No. Well, like with all the L.I.F.E project stuff, all of it is hand numbered, hand signed.
That's awesome.
So we're doing different, I did different colored vinyl. Yes. So depending on what vinyl you get will depend on what guitar pick you get. So the glow in the dark vinyl comes with the glow in the dark guitar pick.
Killer.
White vinyl gets the white guitar pick. You get where I'm going with this. Yeah. Everything is, you know, as a collector, and really it's more of me taking the ideas. Honestly, I'm taking it from like the sports card world, because I used to be really into that, and they do all kinds of crazy stuff like you can imagine.
Right.
But I wasn't I guess what I was talking about with the pricing is not necessarily us as the artists, because obviously we're going to fall where we're going to fall as far as price range goes. It's more manufacturing, right? Where I get frustrated.
Where did you get them manufactured at? Here in the States?
Yes, Blue Sprocket is who I reached out to, and see what I wanted to do with this was, which was really important to me, and I knew everything would be small numbered, so I could do it. Is I wanted to get ahead of the game. Initially, the idea was we're going to wait, we're going to take the pre-orders, and then we'll have the ship made. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So, and since I'm the record company president, I guess, I'm like, nah, that's not happening. So I ended up reaching out to this company, Blue Sprocket, that the mastering engineer that I'm really good friends with, that did not only the L.I.F.E project, but he's done like all the Stone Sour stuff in the last 10 years. It's like, hey, there's this smaller company that does smaller run stuff. Everything's top-notch quality. So I reached out to them immediately. And we started the process of making vinyl back in January. So I'll actually get it next week.
Yeah.
Which is awesome because the actual EP doesn't drop until July. And what I'm stoked about is, knock on wood, everybody should receive their ship on the street date instead of 8 weeks after it comes out.
Right. Yeah.
Oh no, an update. Guess what? Delay.
Yeah.
I tried to make sure that wasn't going to happen. So, and it looks like it won't. So I'm really stoked about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Congrats, man. That's killer. Yeah, the vinyl does really good now. Like, people are crazy about it. It's not a huge market, but like the people who are super into it are fucking nuts about it.
Oh yeah. I got up to I think 2,400 is where I was at. 24 records.
Or you have 2,400. You have 24 vinyls, 2,400 vinyl of other bands.
Of other bands, yeah. Well, the thing is my favorite bands, I'm going to have a shit ton. Like, for instance, my favorite band is Metallica. I've collected them since I was 12 years old. And I think I have like over 400 Metallica records.
Holy shit. Wow.
Because I have all the different pressings. Like I was just mentioning this to somebody. I have 21 different official pressings of just Creeping Death.
Wow.
The EP. Yeah, I have all the colors, all the color variants.
I had the picture disc.
Yeah,
I don't have it anymore, but I had it when I was a kid. That's awesome.
Yeah. So some of that is a little, it's not necessarily they're all different because, like I said, and my wife is like obsessed with Tool, so we kind of have the same thing kicking. Metallica and Tool kind of like everything that's official.
So you have, like, when you say you've got 21 different pressings, that means you've got like the UK pressing, the US pressing, the Canadian pressing, that like how many other, like basically all the countries' pressings? Is there anything different from them?
But actually, I'm going to really quick, I'm just going to pull this up because I have all my stuff on my phone catalog because you wouldn't believe how many times I bought the same thing over and over again because I can't remember it. So
you got to keep it on your phone now.
Yeah, that tells you my my obsession with vinyl. So for Creeping Death, I have the regular UK, the reprint, blue vinyl, clear vinyl, green transparent, red transparent, white, another reissue, the gold version, a blue marble, a picture disc.
And these are all recently done, or these are going back? Yeah, these are all like
going back. Most of it is. So they did all these different colored vinyls in '84, which I was really surprised by, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, once I started getting into it and really seeing what was officially pressed, I was just blown away. I'm like, wow, I can't believe they did all these color variations all the way back then. Because, now it's kind of the norm to have different variants. But back then I was like, I never really had heard of it until I started tackling every official pressing of Creeping Death. And I'm still short a couple of them.
Yeah.
It's from the South America stuff. I need like Argentina and those pressings, which are so hard to find. And if you do, it looks like it's been through a war, so. Yeah, the addiction keeps going.
That's awesome. Well, that sounds like a pretty healthy addiction.
Yeah, it's way better than the other stuff.
Craft beer.
Yeah, I don't wake up the next morning feeling like crap.
No, you probably wake up feeling pretty stoked. You listen to music. Do you listen to it? Do you like keep it all in pristine?
About that too. So a friend of mine owns a Sonic Clean vinyl cleaner, so I borrow it from him, and it sonically cleans with water and this soap.
Oh wow!
And, yeah. So yeah, I spent like weeks cleaning everything, and like the Metallica stuff, I clean it up, I repackage it, and it's stored. I mean,
gotcha.
For me, that's like my generation Beatles. I mean,
reseal it.
I reseal it, yeah, in a resealable bag, and everything, and new sleeves and archive sleeves to. Because anything I'm going after is I'm trying to find stuff that's like mint condition
Right.
or near. Some of it I can't get because it's so short run stuff and it's, old. So it's impossible to find perfect, but
Yeah. I think too, like, I think doing that, honestly doing the blackening reissue, because we have our own merch company. So we sell our own merch and, it's all in house. And, we started getting, you'd send a vinyl out, because we started doing that Burn My Eyes re-release, and you'd send the vinyl out, to somebody, and then somebody would go, oh, it kind of got damaged in the post, and you feel like shit, like it's like it sucks. And we had one guy who was like super collector dude, and he actually sent us some stuff. He's like, can you resend it in this, because this is like, this to me, this is like the premium for a vinyl collector. And it had like two like cardboard, like it had the box, but then it had like an extra inch around it that was like cardboard, just kind of two pieces of cardboard all the way around it that extended, so that if anything got crushed, it was actually just that piece of cardboard that would get crushed. He sent these like I don't know, these non-acid plastic resealable thing, like it was like, and I was like, whoa, there's a whole like thing. And it happened enough times, so I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to invest in this, because like obviously people care about this, and it makes us appreciate what we're selling. And because this vinyl was $50 I was like, I don't want it to arrive damaged at all. So we started doing that, and I don't know, I did find a new appreciation for that. Like listening to you talk about how you're using this, repackaging and redo that.
Well, exactly. And like if you're signing stuff, then obviously most collectors are going to want you to sign the cover or the sleeve anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So you're signing the front of it. Well, you've had to rip off the plastic, because I don't know anybody that's going to sit there and try to take off the shrink wrap and re-shrink wrap your vinyl.
Well, no, I take a guitar pick and I just go along the edge and I scooch it back, and then I sign the vat and then I scooch it back over.
There you go.
Not sealed technically, but like that's the only way. But you still get the shrink wrap at least.
Yeah,
that layer of protection.
Well, most people aren't going to even do that. So that's why I was like, man, the resealable bags is it's just a nice thing to do.
It's killing.
And it's not that, I mean, what are they? 10 cents, 8 cents a piece anyway. I mean,
So what brand are you using on those? Do you remember?
I can't remember. It's like, it starts with a B. It's a black, like BC. It's really, they specialize more in that, once again, in the sports card world, but they do make some stuff for vinyl. So
I'm excited for you, man. This sounds like a pretty cool thing for you. Like you're really invested in it.
Well, I can't wait. I mean, as we get closer to the release, I'm going to release some more photos and videos. And if everybody is going to get a kick out of like me hand numbering all these that took for like ever, I was like, this was a cool idea until I had here in like hour 3.5 doing this. I'm like 1 out of 500, 1 out of, whatever, blah, blah. Because as I said, I did it on.
You're hand numbering them. Oh, I thought you were paying your company to hand.
Oh, no. Everything. No. Here's the thing. I'm already at home anyway, and I'm not really doing anything like we mentioned earlier. So yours truly is packaging your vinyl like completely. Like I'll be taking the record itself into the sleeve, into the other sleeve, into the resealable outer sleeve.
Yeah.
I hand numbered everything. So like I'm just doing all of it.
Yeah. That's
all
cool.
in house.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the only way to do it.
You got like a ship station hooked up? Like that's going to be what you're shipping?
Well, shipping will be easy. Here's the thing. Because I got everything rolling, months in advance, everything has kind of come in separate shipments to me to do. So like the first thing that was done was the cassette, so ended up knocking that out, and then got the record sleeves, signed all those. They're ready to be put together. Then the CD came, so we signed all those. So it's been broken up. It wasn't like, bam, here you go. So then I get it ready, because really for me, it's going to go to our web store, the band's web store, and then Nuclear Blast websites, both the EU and the US.
Or are you on Nuclear Blast?
Well, I did a deal for digital with.
Okay.
with Blood Blast.
Blood Blast.
So
right.
then, so I'm intertwined. So they were like, hey, we'll cover your physical copies. Because like I said, I wanted to get this stuff out, and I wanted it to be actually what I wanted to do. And that's once I kind of got a vibe from some of the labels, and they're like, yeah, we're interested, but then, maybe it needs to be more like, everybody started putting in their 2 cents, which I'm fine with, but I felt really strong with what I wanted to do. I was like, this is the first time really I've stepped out of Stone Sour, period. Like, people don't understand, like, all I know is Stone Sour. Corey and myself played together when we were kids in the early 90s. And then I hadn't played, my first show was 2001 in Stone Sour.
Oh, geez.
So when Stone Sour came back after, Corey left to go to Slipknot. So that's all I know. And I just was like, I wanted to be what I wanted to be. I don't want to look at other bands and what they're doing and this and that, or be told what to do. I mean, it's there's been times where that's happened throughout my career already. And with this, I was just like, I just want to put it out and have fun. I mean, that's why I initially picked it up anyway, and to play whatever I want to play. If I want to play a song on piano, I'll play a song on piano. If I want to, play heavy stuff or whatever, I just no boundaries. No, we got to package this to market it a certain way. I'm just like, I'll fail or succeed, which I'll automatically succeed anyway if it's literally what I want to do, regardless of the numbers. Then I've already won. I mean, in my mind, because I haven't compromised anything for somebody else. So, yeah, it's been
very cool.
Like I said, it's been a very liberating process for me, and a learning experience. I didn't realize in the manufacturing side of just how much goes into certain stuff. Like manufacturing the CD about gave me an aneurysm. I mean, it's like, we need this code and this and that, and I got
the ISRC code.
It's like, and I got one company. I have. Obviously with the distribution deal with Blood Blast, it's like, well, we have these RC blah, blah, blah codes, and they need to be put in the CD. And we won't release that until this is done. And I got these guys saying, well, we need this and that can't be done. And where's the barcode? And I'm like, holy crap. Well, nobody wants to work with one another to make it easy. So it was an interesting process.
Has there been a lot of, demand for CDs? Like, you've done pre-orders already for stuff?
We started the pre-orders. I don't know where they're at right now. I mean, it was just last week that we started as far as the CD.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just curious if there was like
I only went with 500 CDs.
Right.
And I figured hand numbered, hand signed with an exclusive guitar pick for $8. You can't go wrong, right?
That's a lot of work on your end too.
Yeah. So, for me, it was really about also the price point. And that was the other thing I was stoked about, because with me doing everything, when you have other people doing it, this and that obviously increases your price.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I mean, whereas you're like, really, to do that, it's this much more. And it doesn't make sense, at least in the past for me. Some stuff that we've done in Stone Sour, when I get, hey, this is how much it'll cost per unit, I'm like, how is that possible? Well, we got this and this and this. It's like, no, it shouldn't be that much though. Yeah. So with this,
and then you go back and look at your record contract and you're like, oh, that's why it costs so much.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, with this, it was all about keeping everything. Like I said, the cassette, I think, is $12, the CD's $8, and the vinyl's $18. Everything's hand signed, hand numbered. Yeah. So I wanted to make it very affordable, and just because it's a new project and the way that I'm rolling it out, I felt like everybody that really was into the band or bought into the band, they're going to get something special. Because if we reissue everything, like you said, when you do that reissue, obviously you want to make it different, this and that. I don't know what that'll be, if I'll even do it at this point. We have all these other songs. There might be a full length that I put out, the beginning of next year, which would also have these current 5 songs that are coming out being a part of it. Mm-hmm. Kind of following that same thing that Greta Van Fleet did, or back in the day, Ugly Kid Joe did. They put out an EP to kind of get people familiar with the project, and then they put out a full length, and it had those songs from the EP actually on the full length.
Yeah.
So this is a way of getting, I guess, these physical formats in short run that are hand signed, hand numbered, and have all the bells and whistles. And I feel like it kind of, don't want to say it rewards somebody, but it just
it rewards the early.
I mean, that's what it is. It's the people that believed in it or are into it from the very beginning get something special that will, probably I won't restock, honestly, at this point. There's no plan. It's kind of just like, here you go.
Whatever you do, next time pay somebody to handwrite. Pay somebody to.
No, that's what I have kids for.
That's what I tell my kids. Look, I had kids for future slaves. Okay.
Yeah. It's like, hey, I've taken care of you 18 years and 22 years. I need you guys to come back over to my house and number all this stuff.
Yeah,
so.
that's right. I wiped your butt. You. Are your kids still live with you, or are they out of the house now? They're
actually both the oldest is back here, came back because of COVID. She was in Kansas City at Kansas City Art Institute. She just graduated last weekend.
Oh, rad.
And she's moving back to Kansas City this upcoming weekend. And then my youngest just graduated high school, and she's going to the University of Iowa this fall. So, yeah, no kids in the house here.
That's weird.
This week. It's going to be weird. It's going to be weird.
So it's not yet. They're still there for the
not yet. One more week, and I'll have the house with no kids for the first time.
About like empty nest syndrome.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. No, actually, you know what? It'll be. I have a feeling there'll be moments be weird. I'm sure of. So I shouldn't say that. But I'm super proud of them, and they're both doing extremely well with what they're doing. So, they're not that far away from me. I mean, one of them will be 2 hours to the east, the other is 2.5 hours to the south.
Oh, that's not that far. Yeah,
Kansas City's only an hour or 2.5 hours away, and Iowa City, where the University of Iowa is 2 hours away. So they'll probably both come home on the weekends. So
I've got a bird that was right. If you open our front door, there's like a little, an overhang that, covers it. And it's got under the overhang is actually like a little lip where, like it's just decorative basically. But this bird has been kicking it in there, a mama bird and a dad bird, and they've been kicking it in there. And I'm kind of annoyed because they're shitting all over the front porch, but like, it's pretty rad having a bird right there too. So I'm just like kind of, all right, like wrap it up, guys, but they had eggs up there. And so they had a nest up there, and the baby, like it had the baby, like the baby came out, and it was like, oh my God, like the baby's out. And like, so we were constantly seeing the mama bird feeding the baby. And, I guess they'd maybe tried to get it to fly or something. And I think a crow got it. I think a crow or some kind of predator bird got it, because we came home and there was like little baby bird feathers all over the porch and walkway. And we're like, oh fuck, the fucking bird got it. So the mama is like, it went away. Like they weren't there anymore for a couple of days. So then I just cleared out the nest, because I was like, I'm kind of done having this bird shit all over my porch.
Yeah.
But then it came back, and now it's like built another nest, and like the mama bird is just like, it's like in a depression. It's got like, I'm straight up like empty nest syndrome. Like it just keeps continually going to the same place where it was raising its little baby bird, but the baby bird isn't there. And I was just like, that's trippy. It's like a trippy thing. And I look at it, and now I'm not mad at him. I'm like, you know what, dude, just go ahead and shit on my porch. It's cool. Like, you're obviously going through something. Right. It was just, that's what not that I'm saying that's what you're going to go through, but like that thing is real. Like empty nest is like a real thing. I got a fucking bird who's going through empty nest syndrome right now on my porch.
But yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Like, I was tripping on that.
Well, it's just crazy that I mean, like, what is the odds of like a predator bird coming and getting that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially because you're probably in residential.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just weird. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a suburb. It's a suburb, it's got a lot of open land here and there. So there definitely is that bird element.
Right.
It was great. It was just, we came home. I was like, holy shit. Things didn't go well for the flight, I guess. Jeez.
Yeah, we had them on like actually recently too, but it just didn't make its wings didn't work. So I had to clean that up where it was like, oh, I have a baby chick like right in our walkway to the front door. I was like, oh man.
Oh, dead?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
That was that. Yeah, it's like it didn't learn how to fly, unfortunately. It crashed and burned.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then of course we take our dog out to walk and she wants to eat it.
Right.
So that's like yeah, but
do you live in a pretty rural part of Iowa? Are you?
No, I'm in West Des Moines. Yeah. So for me it was I wanted to be somewhere where I was close to everything.
Yeah.
That's pretty much I got into a new house 2 years ago. We made the basement into a studio for myself. And then we're close to everything. Like I suffer from road rage driving. I guess that's the easiest way to put it.
Okay.
Even in Iowa, I get upset. All right. And anybody in a big city is probably like, whatever.
Coming out to the Bay Area.
Well, I'd have a meltdown.
Oh no, I have a meltdown.
Yeah, I saw my brother a couple weeks ago in Houston once I got fully vaccinated, and I'm just like, oh, these big cities can fuck right off. That's all I was thinking. I was like, 45 minutes and I moved like 8 blocks. What the hell's going on? So, but with that being said, it was just the convenience of having everything super close. And still having my youngest daughter be in the same school district to finish out her senior year. So yeah, I'm basically in Des Moines on the west side. So.
Yeah, awesome. Is that I stayed in the swanky part of Des Moines one time. That was like where the Apple store was and all that. Like, and I was just like, whoa, like, I don't know. We just ended up in a hotel there, and I was like, I was just tripping. I was like, holy shit! Like Des Moines got a swanky side to it. Yeah,
Des Moines actually, it's pretty crazy. In the last 20 years, I cannot believe how cleaned up the city is.
Yeah.
There's a couple cool things about Des Moines.
It's a killer city. I love Des Moines. I think it's fucking fans there are awesome. I love Des Moines.
Basically, when all the insurance people don't realize it, but we're actually the insurance capital of the U.S. So we have all the major insurance companies here. So when they all came in, especially Principal and Allstate, they really cleaned up downtown. And now I guess, well, I think last week we now have the biggest skateboard park in the country.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Which is really bizarre and cool at the same time. I'm like, when I was skating as a kid, it was a $25 ticket for skating downtown. And now you build this amazing skate park that like, I don't even know how long this thing is. It's incredible. But good for them. So yeah, it's really started to get pretty progressive over the last couple decades, which is very cool. And like I said, everybody's nice here and it's clean. But yeah, with that being said, I'm probably going to move in a couple of years. For me, I'm over the snow. That's my only knock on it. And as I get older and older, and I'm just like, yeah, this sucks. This last winter for us was so brutal. I think we ended up having, I think at one point I had like 3 feet.
Holy shit.
Like, built up. It put it this way. It was enough snow built around. And we got enough snow in a couple of weeks that the weight of it actually pushed, once it all melted, pushed the ground down past the cement like 2.5 inches. I was like, holy shit.
I stayed in Des Moines. When I was staying on the swanky part of town, I was in Des Moines. It was in the winter. And I remember walking to the Apple store from my bus, and it was like 17 below, and I was like, fuck this shit. I was like, fucking hell.
Yeah, you would have loved it. We had a 2-week span this year at 35 below.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. That's like Siberia shit right there. Like that's fucking.
We'll put it this way. It was so cold when I started my car. the oil filter reserve or whatever that the oil filter sits in, it cracked once the car warmed up. I'm like, cool, I'm glad that, that happened.
Are you moving to California? So where it's just like you're
Maybe.
January 74 degrees in January sometime.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about it. It's just
Does Corey live out here? Does Corey live out in LA now?
He's in Vegas.
Okay.
That's too hot for me. I mean,
yeah.
Summertime, it's one extreme to the other. And I would much rather be cold than hot, because at least you can just add layers or whatever.
Yeah.
And plus, I'm just used to it because like my whole life I've been here, so in Iowa. But yeah, we're looking at possibly San Diego.
Okay. That's gorgeous out there.
So yeah, who knows? A lot of depends what happens in the next couple of years. Honestly, yeah. There's no perfect place. It's like what you know what I'm saying. It's like, what do you want? Do you want extreme heat? Do you want extreme cold? Do you want dry? You want, I guess nobody wants humidity. I mean, at the end of the day, but yeah, we're just kicking ideas around. But I think it's just time now that the kids are
right.
They left the nest, and I don't see either of them coming back. So it's like, what, now maybe it's time I get to move where I want to live, and not necessarily, doing what's right by the family.
Right.
So that's what I'm looking at.
You tried out for the Iowa Barnstormers.
Many years ago.
Many years ago, you tried out to be safety it was the Arena League, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I got to go to
football.
96, I believe, 95, 96.
What are you? 18?
I love the game.
18 or something? You're 18 at this point? 19?
Yeah, probably 19, 20. Around that area I love the game. I still do. Mm-hmm. And for me, I just wanted to hit people. I know I'm not that big of a guy, but I love the content. Now I'm way too old to even think about that. But at the time, that's all I wanted to do. All my friends were like, oh, we want to be wide receivers and running backs and quarterbacks. I was like, no, man, like Steve Atwater is my guy. He's like taking people's heads off. Anybody that comes across the middle of the field is like, so I got to do it. Obviously, I didn't make the team. But the cool thing was the year that I went down there and we did the tryouts, Kurt Warner was actually his first year as a Barnstormer.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Wow. So, he actually he played, I think, 3 seasons for the Barnstormers.
Okay.
And then the Rams took a chance on him. Yeah, because he's from Iowa and he grew up. He actually, he went to Northern Iowa and worked at the local grocery store as he was doing arena ball, because they don't really get paid that much to do that, I guess. Right. So yeah, it's like, so that was kind of cool. But it was a short-lived dream. I didn't get to hit anybody, but at least I tried it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's pretty impressive. I don't, you're the first person I've ever known to get even that far into it.
Yeah. It would have been cool. I wish I would have had the skill set to be able to, that's how much I love the game. I really do. But
you played a lot growing up?
Yeah, played a lot. But unfortunately, like I said, after that, then I went back to playing guitar. Because actually when I was doing that, I had quit. Corey had joined Slipknot. I had stopped playing guitar for a couple of years.
Oh, geez. Okay.
As I was doing that. And then that kind of, obviously I knew that wasn't going to happen. And then I started playing guitar again. And actually I have to credit you, which I have in the past. The Burning Red for me was really like a kick in the ass to come back and start playing again.
Oh, shit.
Our album is like, I love that record. So, so thank you for that, for getting me back on course.
Welcome.
Of what my, I guess my true calling is which is writing and playing music.
So you were playing in a band with Corey, and then you quit to focus on football?
Well, Corey, so me and Corey go all the way back, like way back, like 1990. The first time the two of us had gotten together, I was playing bass guitar and he was playing drums. He hadn't started singing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and really after that first thing was, hey, I want to sing. And I'm like, okay, I mean, maybe, sure, you know, I'll back it, and you might be good, you might not. Let's see what happens.
You sure can't talk a lot, so you got that go for you.
Yeah, he's the perfect front person, definitely. So yeah, and then we played in a couple bands that never left the basement, just playing cover tunes.
Yeah.
And Stone Sour started, and then
the two of you started Stone Sour.
No, actually, the original drummer, Joel Ekman, they started it. They wanted me to play bass, and I didn't want to because I wasn't a fan of the whole Seattle movement.
Okay.
And
they were kind of like a grunge band.
Yeah, it was just like, and I had just switched to guitar because I'm just like, you know what, I'm actually a better guitar player than I am a bass player, and if I'm just writing at this point for myself or whatever's going to happen, I'd rather write on guitar. And I still write on bass even today. But so I switched over, and I played on some of the solos for the original 90s Stone Sour stuff.
Okay.
But
Jim Root was in the band at that point?
At the very end.
Okay.
Actually, it's crazy. So between 92 and 96, there was, I think Corey counted it, there was 14 different guitar players.
Holy moly.
Yeah. So Jim was the last person to come in and play guitar.
14th guitar player.
Yeah.
Rotating guitar. Of the original lineup, yeah.
So with that being said, they wanted me to join. I was, once again, like I said, the band at that point had shifted more into that alternative world, which I have now more appreciation for than what I did at that time. I'm like, you know,
what year is this? What
this is like
92 to 96, you said?
Yeah, 92 to 96 is the original 90s Stone Sour, and multiple times they tried to get me, and I'm just like, I don't want to play like Pearl Jam stuff or Nirvana stuff. And I'm not.
This would have been like the Black Album would have been huge at this point, right? Like,
well, for me, along with Metallica and really Megadeth had Countdown to Extinction.
Slayer had Seasons.
Yeah, so I mean that era of even thrash metal was killer, but I'm like, what about this band from Texas, like called Pantera?
Oh, right.
Cowboys came out.
Vulgar.
Like, yeah, and then of course when Vulgar Display came out, and just, I mean, Mouth for War, I was just like, oh, this is freaking unbelievable.
That fucking guitar tone just ripped heads off. I was like, fuck.
Oh yeah.
I was like, listen to that shit.
Yeah, so obviously it's like, do you want to be in this band that's strummy and, you know, playing chords, or do you want to write riffs? And I'm like, I want to write riffs, man. That's where it's at for me, and that's what I enjoy. So Corey would obviously, what would happen is there would be a battle of the bands to play at what would now be Laser Fest. I can't remember what radio station it was. So it was all the local bands. It came down to Slipknot and Stone Sour. All right. There's many, for the people that were here, there's definitely a conspiracy that it was totally rigged. If you ask anybody, that was
Slipknot rigged in their favor.
Well, here's what happened. So you had a voting card that got turned in, and the person that did the counting was the DJ for the radio station, who also was managing Slipknot. See where I'm going with this.
Oh.
So
it was a conspiracy.
Slipknot ends up winning. She ends up talking to
Wonder Corey. How that happened.
She ended up talking to Corey the next day, and Corey ends up being the Slipknot singer a week later.
Oh, geez. Oh, so Corey was, this is before Corey was in Slipknot. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know much of the early history of Slipknot.
Yeah, so that's how that all went down. And then obviously Slipknot would get signed several years later. And then I went to see their
So Slipknot got to play the laser.
yeah, whatever
Yeah.
radio station thing it was.
Gotcha.
So several years later, after they got signed to Roadrunner, so 99, they did New Year's Eve here, which was their first homecoming show for them after being signed to Roadrunner. And I went with Corey, and I had written all this stuff, like I had, and I had given it to him. And then he ended up calling me like a day or two later, and he's like, some of this is great. I'm going to write it. I'm going to write to it, and we'll go from there. And that's really what we did. We spent like all of 2000 and part of 2001 working on what would become. And really, after we kind of in the same position, it's kind of funny because I'm kind of now, I didn't think of that until just now. I'm kind of in the same position as I was back then. So it was just the two of us
Right.
doing all this stuff. Monty Connor comes in and is like, well, you guys got to be a band. Like, you can't just be the two of you. And then the other original Stone Sour members came back. So it was Joel, Sean, and Jim.
John Economaki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those guys came back into it. But really, the project was already, the first album was pretty much already done.
Gotcha.
So, and then the rest is history.
Yeah.
They say.
I remember Sean Economaki. He was cool, dude. He worked for Slipknot on that. We had Slipknot out with us on their second tour ever. So, he came out. He might have even been at this. No, I don't think he was at the studio, but he was on that tour. I remember him from that. It was cool. He was a cool dude.
Yeah, we're still good friends. Actually, he's coming over to help me dial in some new gear this weekend. I mean, we've always kept in contact and still see each other regularly. So,
yeah. What yeah, that's an interesting way that you write, because like you don't really get with anybody and jam in a room at any time. It sounds like.
No, I don't think I've ever done that.
Really?
Yeah,
it's really in the early days, obviously, but
for me, writing for me comes in spurts too. So like once I'm influenced or inspired to do it, it's like I have a full vision of what I want it to be, which is cool on one hand and can be very challenging on another hand, because it's like, well, this is my vision. This is like nobody. If you're in a band, you need to be a band and everybody contributes. But it's like first couple records. It's a little difficult. Yeah. I'm sure the guys
you're giving a song that you've essentially finished to Corey to write lyrics over, and then Corey comes back and says, "Okay, these are the lyrics that I want to write over it." And you're like, "Well, I don't. Maybe it's how you heard it. Maybe it's better than you heard it. Maybe it's worse than you heard it."
Lyrically, it's a little bit different because I don't contribute that way.
Yeah.
Or vocal melody. It's more of, I'm sure if you talk to Roy. Where it's like I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that cymbal hit there. I don't know about that fill. I used to really get married to the demos.
Right.
Let's put it that
Demoitis.
way. Oh yeah.
Demoitis.
That's not what I wrote.
I programmed something differently there.
So, but I've gotten way better of letting everybody. I mean, obviously he smokes. I mean, it's not even close of his drumming against my drumming. I'm like, basic stuff. And he's
a beast
himself. So I've gotten better.
I love him. He's fucking so awesome.
Yeah. Now it's just like, can you give it maybe the feel that I have on the demo in that section and just let him run with it? But whether it's double time, half time,
right.
So that's where I've gotten to. And then, so yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's kind of,
when you guys start recording though, like are they trying out these ideas for the first time in the studio?
No. Yeah. So like I said, what will happen is, at least with my stuff, is once Corey has written stuff to it and we're like, yeah, okay, this is cool, then that's when we present it to them, and then everybody will rehearse whatever, and then we'll try some new stuff once we get into the studio.
Right. Okay.
But for everything that I contribute, like I said, for better or for worse, the demo is not really that much different than usually what it is on the record. Because like I said, I'm crazy in myself before I even give it to Corey. So it's like going through the two of us first before everybody else even gets it. You know, it's just,
and it'll change after it gets to Corey.
Sometimes he'll go, hey, let's do this, because it just sets up the vocal melody better.
Yeah.
So, you know, my biggest thing is just, you got to leave me some space where I keep the riffage.
Right.
You know, and you can't take, you know, I can't have that all completely removed. Like, that's why I play guitar. I didn't sign up to, you know, to just strum chords and stuff like that. And I know obviously our biggest song, I play 3 chords for 4 minutes, so I'm not going to argue about it, but there's got to be a balance.
What's your biggest song?
For us, it's Through Glass, hands down. Yeah. So, you know, and I play C, D, and E for 4 minutes. So just different variants of it. And there's nothing wrong with it. And I actually enjoy playing the song, but if I don't want to do a full record of that. I mean, it's like, there has to be, like I said, a balance there and different styles of music at this point. I mean, otherwise it just gets boring, you know.
You play the guitar part in Bother?
Corey plays the guitar part.
Okay, gotcha. God, that fucking chord kicks my ass. That fucking chord drives me nuts. Like, my finger doesn't want to do that shape.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, he's the one that played the guitar on that.
Okay.
So
that must have been pretty exciting, recording your first album like that. You're on Roadrunner, you know, like
the first album was pretty stressful, I think, for all of us, because we just didn't know what was going to happen. And we were like given a very small budget, but freedom to do whatever. So we just did it in Iowa with an engineer that owned the studio here. The real excitement kicked in for me anyway, was the second album, which was recording it at Dave Grohl's studio with Nick Raskulinecz producing it. You know, walking in every day and have Dave and Taylor there. It was insane. I mean, like, and you know, just coming in and Dave's like sitting at the desk like he's in the band listening to stuff and stuff. Is like, this is surreal. Like
Dave Grohl's like, does he make suggestions? Does Dave make suggestions?
The only thing, actually, he never did. The only thing that he said, because I'll say it now because enough times went by. So just to get everybody up to speed. So the reason why he would be in the studio is, at the time, his wife was pregnant with one of the kids, and he was supposed to quit smoking. So
the only place
I need to go to the studio, and because we would come into the control room and it would be like the 2 a.m. You know, like it was 2 a.m. and you were in a bar back in the day. That's how the control room was every day when we come in. It was just like, holy shit. But
because they had he's got a bar at the studio, right?
He has everything at the studio.
Yeah, I've been to this studio for a party one time, but I didn't know what it was like without the party going on there. You know?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily convinced. Like, he had his own shower and everything upstairs. I'm thinking that he actually every day also took a shower before he went back home. So, because it went on. It went on for the entire time we were making the record. But the only thing that he did say is, after he heard Through Glass, he was like, this is going to be a big song for you guys.
Wow.
Cool. And that was basically it. Other than that, it was like, who's playing me in ping pong or cards or whatever. Like, him and Taylor were obsessed with ping pong at that moment in time. I mean, so competitive watching the two of them play.
yeah.
It's like, this is insane. Like, yeah, they would go at each other playing that. It was
That's
crazy.
too funny.
Yeah.
It's funny that those two dudes are just like hanging out while you're recording. Like, how crazy is that? Like, fucking.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that was awesome.
Oh, it's the drummer for Nirvana. He's just hanging out like, while we record our record.
Well, the other thing that was awesome, not only one, because at the time nobody had recorded in 606 besides the Foo Fighters. That was it. And maybe, I think he might have done some Queen of the Stone Age stuff.
Yeah.
To help.
A little intimidating in some ways, you know, like maybe not, but like.
Yeah, it
not
was.
That not that they would be intimidating, but just intimidated as this gigantic rock star, like, and you're.
I was just blown away at how down to earth he was,
yeah,
and how awesome he was. Like, I was getting ready to say, the other thing that's cool is all the Foo's gear is stored in the studio and in there, and literally all the guys were like, right after we got out there, they're like, "You guys can use anything you want, just make sure it gets put back, and obviously respect it, and not like any of us would anyway." But we didn't end up, I don't think, using anything, but just the fact that they offered that, and
super nice,
was pretty awesome. So yeah. It was cool.
Did you have some good hangs with those guys?
Just playing ping pong. Like, I know, because back then I didn't go out at all, and so for me it was in the daytime. I know that Dave, several of the guys went out several times to the Rainbow with Dave. I never did. So, but he's, like I said, he was always super cool and so down to earth. That's what surprises me. It's just how down to earth he is. He's a very easy person to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
For somebody like me that's quiet and reserved, especially if I don't know you, it's helpful to have somebody that's like that. So
those records are good. Tell me about I think my favorite record by you guys is House of Golden Bones.
Well, Golden Bones is interesting, in the fact that we weren't going to record that record. Initially, it was going to be the first covers EP. So what had happened is, coming off of Audio Secrecy, Roy ended up having a stroke. And so we ended up pulling the plug on the cycle. And then it was like he was recovering, and we were like, hey, let's just do a cover EP to kind of keep us going.
Oh, okay.
Slipknot works on the next record. I don't have all the details, so I would be speculating, so I'm not going to. The next thing I know is a couple months went by, and Corey's like, I have this idea to do a concept record. I'm not going to do a new Slipknot record yet. And so, what do you got for material? Like, now, I need everything. So, it happened so fast. Like, it was a blur, like, to me, like the whole process, and even us recording it. It went super fast. And
wow, crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like, literally, it felt like in a 2-month period of time, it was like we went from picking a cover song, each one of us to cover, to here's 24 songs. We're doing a double concept, album, 2 albums.
Right.
And we're starting in 3 months. Let's go. Like, from scratch. It was insane. But
that first one is so fucking good. Like, top to bottom. Just a great fucking record, man. So many rocking, just the production was killer. Like, whoever I can't remember the guy who mixed it. I almost hired him though, because I was like, fuck.
Yeah. It's Jay Rustin.
Yes.
Is who mixed that, which obviously he would mix our cover EPs and then produce and mix Hydrograd. He mixed it. Dave Bottrell produced it.
Okay.
And which was the perfect person to bring into a project like a concept record, because you look at what he does and the bands he's worked with, it's like, he's the guy, in my opinion. Between the Tool records, King Crimson, Peter Gabriel,
Right.
you know, it gets more in that proggy, artsy
Mm.
style. So yeah, he came in and he killed it, and he really pushed, especially Corey. I think more than what Corey had been pushed on any Stone Sour record.
Hmm.
He had some suggestions and rewrites, and really, like I said, he really pushed everybody.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah, sometimes that's a great experience. You know, like sometimes you need that. You know, you can get hyper focused on whatever you're doing, and it's like, no, I need that ear to go, dude, try this.
well, that's I'm like we touched on before, where I've kind of over the years have loosened up on, you don't need to exactly play whatever I had written in the demo. I agree with bringing in a producer. It's like, well, if you're not going to let a producer produce, then you might as well just hire a kick-ass engineer to get the sounds and the sonics of the record.
Yeah.
If you're going to cut off the producer's suggestions, and whether it's, you know, good or bad, and rewrites, or let's try this, if you're not going to allow that person to do it, then why are you paying that person to even be in there?
Right.
So, yeah.
What's the first? Are you married when you start going on tour for the first time? Like during this whole, like all through that period, are you married? Are you single? Are you?
I'm married throughout the whole thing, or in a relationship.
Yeah.
My first marriage was for almost 20 years.
Okay. So your whole marriage lasted through all of Stone Sour?
Up until through House of Golden Dogs.
Okay, gotcha. And then after that,
and then after that, like, stuff started spinning. Then you notice, like, the marriage ends and the other shit creeps in.
Xanax pops up.
Yeah.
The craft beer.
So, yeah. So you get, so, but Christine, who I've been with now for 6 years, is just like, she's awesome. And it's just, it was meant to be. I don't want to take obviously away from the kids' mothers, because that's obviously a tricky thing, and we're still in good terms and talk and this and that. But
awesome.
The thing is we were super young when we got together, because we had gotten together before even Stone Sour happened. So I think that's the thing a lot of people do when you're younger. My suggestion is go live life a little bit. Yeah. Make that commitment, because if not, you're probably screwing the both of you in the long term at some point.
Yeah.
It's like, go out, see the world, do all that stuff, while you're young. And then you want to have a family, maybe think about it like age 30.
Yeah.
After you've went out and done
certainly
all.
You're going to be in a band. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much that situation, So always been with somebody.
I definitely admire your, I don't know, you seem like a very patient dude. Like, I don't like how you wait for, especially when Jim and Corey were in Slipknot and Stone Sour, like how, to have your band come to an end and then just like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing for a year or 2 years, maybe even, while they write. And, like I do admire your, patience or whatever, that your fortitude to keep on doing that. I mean, obviously you guys had a lot of success, so there was always that to keep you drawn to it and inspired for it. But
yeah, I mean, I think to me, I can break it down to two things. Number one is Stone Sour never stops for me. I'm the guy behind the scenes that's pushing stuff, like last year I did all the demos where I we put up all those demos once a week, and I would give a little blurb of where we were. Like, I kept track of all that stuff throughout the years. Worked on a bunch of live video stuff throughout the band's career that we're just kind of sitting on right now.
Okay.
Went back and we cleaned it up and everything. And so it never stopped for me. And then the other thing is, because we got the break, I always looked at it as we get an opportunity to really try to do the best material. It gave us time instead of being forced to, constantly go out on tour 12, 16 months, whatever it is, then have to be, hey, you got to go in and make us another record. Where I felt like this allowed us to be able to kind of, work on putting the best material together, along with a break from one another. And I think that is huge. So when we always come back together, it's like everything's brand new again. And it's not like, cool.
Yeah, I always thought it was crazy that Corey and Jim were in 2 bands together. I was like, it's hard enough being in one band with one guy, and then living with that person for, like you said, 12 to 16 months. Like, put 2 bands. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a great question to ask one of those two. Actually. I don't know what you would get for an answer, but I think the thing is though, with Stone Sour has a decent amount of success, and then obviously Slipknot's to the point now where it's like, I think everybody, I don't know. I think everybody might have their own bus at this point. I don't know where they are with things. So you still have that divide, instead of being a young band where you great, we're in a band for 16 months and
right.
then we have to go make this record and we only get 3 weeks to go in and do it. And guess what? Back out on the road. And, so there's a comfort level now established between the 2 acts where it's, it goes a certain way, and it has to, because otherwise you burn out. It's, do you want to realistically, do you want to try to save this a little bit of money, or do you want to ultimately have separation and everyone's happy and you're able to continue for a full cycle without having band members want to kill each other,
right?
So we chose the other, and so it's just like, hey, it has to at least be this. We have to have our own time. We have to be a little bit of separation here and there, especially when you have half the band that drinks and is very social, and then 2 guys that now, are sober. So it's like, that's the new thing. It's like, well, where is this? And then you come off of me throwing in another wrench where it's like, well, shit, he's just coming in, sneaking beers, and nobody even knows I'm coming in and taking beers out of anything, drinking them wherever, So, I threw in an interesting wrench, but like I said, I think because of the level of both acts, we're able to have that space still, which I think is important for any band.
Yeah. Oh my God. Totally. I mean, I gotta say, it's one of the nicest things doing this podcast, talking to other bands and just going like, yeah, like sometimes I want to kill so-and-so, like how everybody, or secure, like crew, like the crew coming in and like crew drama, like shit like that, where you're just like,
yeah,
all right, it doesn't happen to just us. Okay, great.
Well, it happens to everybody.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And the crew drama, we ended up, it's plain and simple. It's like, either you're here to do a job. For one, I play in the band. So if you have a complaint, you take it up with the TM or somebody else. You shouldn't be going to a band member with a problem, because then that brings the band into whatever. Because if a crew member's having a problem, then it's usually with another crew member. And at least in my experience, it's like, this crew member is pissed off that this person doesn't do this and they don't do that. And it's just like, Jesus. It's like, I don't get it. It's like, there's how many millions of people that go to work every day.
I know.
And add to a job they hate. Your job's really not that bad. Let's be honest.
It's not that bad.
And
it's rough. It's rough at times, but like,
it's, at least for me, what I can remember, it's always dumb shit though. It's like you're really that upset over this,
right?
or that, and it's just like, you let it get to that point, and it's, I don't know. So that's my take on that whole thing of the drama crap. It's just, we try to keep that completely out. There for a while in Stone Sour, we would sit down once a week, the 5 of us, and basically round table. The band would, with nobody else, and round table, and just talk about shit that's going on, or shit that might be causing somebody to feel a certain way, or this or that. So it doesn't just build up to something, and where you have
Wow.
a band member be explosive.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it worked well, honestly. So for the most part, it's like, hey, maybe this or maybe that, or this is how, how I'm feeling about this. Because like I said, if not, you just hold on to it and it becomes resentment. And then the next thing you know, then you have everybody like that, and shit can't be repaired, which probably could have been fixed if it would have just been addressed in the beginning.
Yeah, I think dudes too have a tendency to just push everything down. Like,
oh, absolutely,
push it farther and farther down. Like,
oh,
I know I do. At least.
Yeah, and so do I. I mean, hands down. So I agree with you. It's weird to go into that, that place, but we got comfortable. And actually, this is the first time that this is probably even mentioned that we used to do that. Of being able to do it. And that was the whole thing. We just wanted to make sure, like in Stone Sour, everything is equal and everyone has a voice. So even with Johnny and Christian now in the band, they're still treated as an equal.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, it's just important, to have that communication, and everybody should be able to speak freely, and hopefully once again, then you avoid the drama and tension, and everything runs smoother that way.
For the foreseeable future, it's you're on break from Stone Sour.
Yeah, there's no timetable for return, because honestly, between Corey doing his solo thing, now me working on the L.I.F.E project stuff, Roy working on ministry.
Oh shit!
Yeah, cool. Roy actually is doing hopefully I can say this, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he played the drums on the upcoming ministry record, and he will actually go tour with them. So yeah.
Killer.
So there's just no timetable. Like, I know initially I made a comment last year, and it kind of like backfired because of how I said indefinite hiatus, which, if you know the definition, actually just means it's a long period of time with no timetable of return.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody thought I said infinite instead of indefinite, because all of a sudden the band was like over. I mean, I was like, oh my God, it's over. And all I was saying was there's no timetable. It's no different than what we've done in the past. So it's just like, it's just going to be a longer break. We needed to branch out. We needed to try different shit. We needed to work with different people. And then, whenever that time is that we get back together, it'll actually be what is best for Stone Sour. There's no doubt about it in my mind. Yeah. Is having these different experiences for all of us, instead of just running that same cycle. And especially, I think more so with Corey and myself, where, like I said, he got to do a solo record where he's doing different style music than anybody would have thought of or wouldn't have fit in Stone Sour or Slipknot. For myself, it's working with somebody that's not Corey and Roy. And so it's like there's a growth that will be there that we'll ultimately get, which will benefit the band. I know everybody might not, some people might not be stoked that it's going to be who knows when. I mean, but it's just, it needed to happen, and that's what's best for everybody involved.
How do you guys come to this decision? Like, do you call each other up and say, hey, or is it during the tour cycle, or like? I
think at the end of the tour cycle, we had a good idea of what was going to happen. Like, where he wanted to do the solo record. And then
was the other Slipknot record out at that point?
No, he was they were working on it.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, and for myself, it's something I kicked around, like I mentioned in the very beginning, of just having some of the songs that I would musically write that I would never submit into Stone Sour because I don't feel like it fits at all. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of on that path to begin with. I just kind of got an extra nudge with him doing his solo record of, hey, this is like probably the time to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there you have it. And then we got hit with the pandemic, which then really locked me into the house. So it's like, what else am I going to do? So I just started writing and working on playing piano. And so I did a bunch of stuff on piano, which some of it will come out and you know, some of it it's like, nah, no, I'll keep for myself. But you know, like I said, and that's basically what we did. So we had a good idea, I think, that we were going to take a longer break at the end of 19. Because like I said, it's just breaking that same cycle of just what we've had. It's the same thing. And it just became, I think towards the end, I think all of us were just burnt. So,
yeah, it happens, man.
Yeah.
It happens. You know, like that, those long tour cycles, you know, they take, I mean, fuck, I mean, I don't even know. When I think back to the Blackening tour, we did 3 years and 3 months. I'm just like, I don't know how we got through it. It was fucking, you know, like the fact that we were able to even, you know, get through it all that time was just crazy. Like, you know, you just kind of put your head down and it's a blur and it's awesome and it's rough and it's like the best of times and the worst of times all in one.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't even imagine doing 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. It took, I mean, it was so, you know, took a toll mostly on my family. You know, I had my youngest son, Wyatt, and then I went on tour a month later for 3 years and 3 months. I came back and I was like, he's like, like, who are you? Oh, you're my dad. Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's the rough part. It's like, you know, it's awesome to play all those shows and get the opportunity to do it for a living. But like you said, there's a sacrifice that's obviously the family takes in the process. I mean, luckily for myself, I've been able to come home for like, gone for 2 years, home for 2 years, gone for 2 years, home for 2 years. So, yeah, but even with that being said, there's times, especially in this last couple of weeks, as both of them have graduated, where it's like, man, you know, could I have done a better job? Should I have been home more? You know, so, but everything happens for a reason. That's where I'm at with things now.
When's this record dropping? July, you said?
July 9th.
July 9th.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hand numbered.
Hand signed.
Hand packed.
Hand hacked. Yeah, no doubt. If you got
he
the
licks
upper
the
numbers,
stamp. He licks the stamp that goes on your
I haven't gotten that far yet. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Yeah, it's I'm stoked about it. And I'm really proud of just being to do all the aspects of it. Like I'm proud of the music, don't get me wrong, but I'm like, yeah, but I was on the phone with this CD manufacturer and this record manufacturer, and you know, and I'm the one that's putting all these records together and did the hand numbering. It's just something about it. I mean, granted, after numbering, like I said, hand numbering for hours on end, my hand was like dead. It's like I haven't written this long and so
What's
long.
Writing
school, you know. I mean, it was like, this is insane. But now that it's done, it's just something cool. And I think it also, you know, like I said, the main idea or main reason why I did it was I didn't want to keep raising the price on everything. It's just like, what am I doing anyway? I'm just sitting at home right now, basically. So it's like, what? I'm going to spend a couple of days doing this. And how cool is that for people to be able to say that I did that? I mean, it's like, holy crap. I mean, you hand numbered and packaged this stuff. And it's like, well, yeah. To me, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And it helped keep costs down instead of raising them. So
yeah. And you get a little piece of you there too.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I just was like, yeah. And maybe a little bit of control freak in there of just like, I want this shit to be perfect. If I do it, it's going to be perfect, you know?
I'm stoked that you got it together so quickly. You know, like, I don't know, you know, my timetable of when Stone Sour ended, and I heard that you guys were going on break and this, but it seemed pretty quick, at least to me.
Well, for this, it literally would have been a year.
Okay.
Because when we came off break with Stone Sour, so all of it would have been, all of 19 for me would have been me working on the old house to move into the new place.
Okay.
Because I was involved in all us doing the construction in the new place. So that was pretty much all of 19 for me. I think when I came and watched you guys, I think I had just actually got into the new house, I believe. Okay. So then so then the beginning of 2000 is when I started working on this project. So yeah.
Well, I really wish you the best with it, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Seems like it's getting a good reaction. Song's really cool.
Yeah, I haven't gotten very much you suck and toilet flushes and
cringe.
Well, I guess I must be doing something right.
That's pretty good. If
we mentioned Blabbermouth. I had to go back initially, and I'm like, I did the one thing that, as an artist, that you're told not to do. It's like, don't ever read the comments.
Don't read the Blabbermouth comments.
But I'm like, you know what? I get what Blabbermouth is, though. And it's all about who can come up with the best insult. So as long as you go into it as
totally,
that's what it is.
I gotta say, sometimes there's so many dickheads on there, but goddamn, every once in a while they get something so fucking funny. I'm like, that was good, you dick. That was fucking good.
Yeah, and so I did, and then I was like, I looked at my wife, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I was like, when the Blabbermouth guys are like, well, it's kind of okay. It's all right.
Like what?
It's not it's if you like radio rock or hard rock, it's not my cup of tea, but this is okay. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Yeah. Like, I got worried for a minute. I'm like, when all these guys, I'm like, so I must be doing something somewhat right. But it's been getting a good reaction. And like I said, hopefully next year we get to take it out, and that's where I think we'll really excel, because obviously we haven't played out, but I've seen Cassandra's band, and she's just as explosive and dynamic live as she is on this EP.
Awesome.
Maybe even a little bit better, to be quite honest.
That's killer. Yeah, I'm excited.
She's a force to be reckoned with.
A fucking awesome voice. Holy shit. Got that grit. I love that. You know?
She's a beast. I'm very lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. Best of luck with everything. July 9th. Check it out.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Rand, Stone Sour, kicking it here on No Fucking Regrets. Peace out, man.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
With Robb Flynn.